not really getting married. I ain't had a wedding dress on since.
I feel like that's like a rite of passage. That's
not just... for some of these kids now. They're all running around with American Expresses. Women age way better than men.
Well, you know, they say your kids grow up in a different household, even though it's the same, maybe the same home.
Hi, welcome to the Pickup Line. I am Maury Goins.
And I'm Dina Blair.
And we are talking to you from the carpool to the crib. In this episode, we're going to talk about different things that go on in different decades of your life. Like what you regret, what you wish you could do over, like just growing pains.
So the main thing for me is that I think about like, I started working when I was like 14 or 15 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I think about like, had I known how to invest my money, like had somebody showed me where to invest my money and how to keep it growing and making money, I'm still doing that research.
That's
like to this day,
wealth.
This day, right?
I'm still generational wealth.
Yeah, yes. I'm still trying to figure that out. But
where did you work when you were 14?
I worked at Cafe Mexico.
I worked at a t-shirt shop.
I worked at the mall in the food court.
Yeah, I worked at the mall too. I was putting screens on the t-shirt. Like you come in.
Was it a kiosk?
No, it was a whole store. They come in. I had that big iron. I was like.
Were you 14?
I had
you were 14?
No, I think I was 16. I was 16.
So I was 14. I was 14, maybe 15. And me and my best friend worked at this restaurant called Cafe Mexico in the mall. And it was attached to like all the other fast food restaurants. And we had one friend that worked at It's Greek to Me. And we worked at Cafe Mexico. And
It's Greek to Me. That's funny.
Uh-huh. And we would like experiment with different types of food. And we would like take food from the different, like It's Greek to Me. And from the Mexican place, we like mix together and try like do like a taco and a pita. Like
That's cool.
We would do all kinds of crazy stuff.
It was just me and the t-shirt shack. Mm-mm. And the people were like, I want my name. It would be like Rebecca loves Joey. And I'd line up all the letters with my ruler.
That's so in line with what you like to do now though. Like you're so design everything.
And then I'd pop it up. Here's your t-shirt. And they'd be like, I want that heart. I'm like, why she want that heart? Okay.
But could you imagine, I don't even know how they like trusted us like as 14 or 15 year olds just to be in that restaurant by ourselves. Like we didn't, like every once in a while, like the supervisor would come in.
Well, how they do now? I mean, they just like people that are working or that get, like if you are 16 and you're allowed to work, they got to trust you, you know? They trusting you in Publix with all that candy and all that shit. Like, so they got to trust you. It's just like,
and then after that, I worked at Ups and Downs.
That is
clothing store. Do you remember that store?
Was it Ups and Downs?
Mm-hmm. Ups and Downs.
Do you remember Merry-Go-Round?
I did a runway show for them.
I did Merry-Go-Round. I had a beaded jacket from them.
Yeah,
a Michael Jackson beaded jacket. It was white.
When I modeled, I did a whole runway show for them at this like place in Michigan.
I modeled when I was young, and I was on the cover of a magazine in Indiana, and it was me in a wedding dress, and my oldest sister went and she cried, and I'm like, did that do me? Is that why I never got married? Because I did. I remember that. And my sister was at the show. We did a bridal show, and my sister was in the audience crying. I was like, why you crying? I'm not really getting married. I'm just wearing the dress.
That's funny.
I ain't had a wedding dress on since. Well, no, I did. Remember my 40th birthday? I cut the wedding dress off and used the poof skirt and wore it with a jacket. Do you remember that? And a feather boa?
You were so fashionable.
That was so fly.
Yeah.
That shit was fly. I had on lubes before anybody even knew what they were.
That's why you styled people, because you knew what was
red
up.
Louboutins, and nobody even knew. They were all at my party like, oh, I like your shoes. I was like, you should.
So when you think back though, like what kind of things do you think in your 20s? Like looking back in let's just do 20s first. And thankfully, we didn't know each other in our 20s.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
It's a good thing.
But in my 20s, I was a mother. I was a mother at 22. I've been a mother almost my whole life. Yeah, I was pregnant with D. I graduated from college with D in my belly. And I was a mom. I remember telling my two best friends then, I told one of my friends, I was like, I'm pregnant. She was like, okay. And then my other friend was like, you're going to be on welfare. I was like, what?
Oh.
She was like, oh my God, Maury Bell, you're going to be on welfare. I was like, baby, I ain't going to never.
Horrible.
Yeah, I was like, that's not happening. Yeah, she was upset. But I was young. I was like the first one pregnant. I was young. Mm-hmm. And so my son grew up with me, right? I was 22 years old. Can you imagine 22?
No.
Gracie's almost 20. Mariah's 25.
No.
I was a whole ass mother. A whole mother. Took him to Houston's with me every week. And he would spill his iced tea all
I
over the
love
table.
Houston's.
Yeah, he would eat. He
so
was
solid.
He was eating Hawaiian steak. Yeah, I remember that. So in my 20s, I just grew up. I grew up. I was a grown woman.
Wow. I wasn't thinking about having kids in my 20s.
I wasn't either.
At all. At all.
But I did. And if you were to ask me, would I do it again? Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I don't have a whole lot of regrets in my life. When I was 20, even with D, I had my sisters around me. We all lived in the same apartment complex. My oldest sister came down and helped me with the crib and everything. And so I didn't feel like at the time that D slowed me down at all.
Well, you had such a great support system.
I did. Mm-hmm. I had a really good support system. I did. I didn't marry his dad, and great guy. But I just, I kept it moving. But if I had to tell somebody in their 20s now, I would say, don't do that. I would say, don't do that. Get your life planned out first. Figure out what you want to do. Because when I went to school to get my master's, one of my best friends kept D for me. So it was I didn't let the fact that I was a young mom stop me from succeeding in my life.
Right.
I just kept it going.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept going.
Yeah. I can't think of anything I really do differently. I mean, I would say that I started college and then I left and traveled and lived overseas for a while. Yeah, I mean, looking back, there are some choices I would have made. Me and my best friend, actually, we went to middle school together, and we went to this school that was for like the gifted and talented academically.
Okay.
And we talked the other day and we were like, why did we leave that school? Like, we left to go to high school because we wanted to have a social life. Like, we wanted to, do all the social things. Because the school we went to didn't have a football team or no sports. Like, it was literally all academics.
Yeah. That's like a charter school.
Yeah, that's what it was like. And so we left. But I think looking back, knowing what I know now, it probably would have made sense for us to stay.
When I was in elementary school, this is so funny. This is not funny, but this is like for all the kids that have gone through this. I wasn't in a special school. I wasn't like the smartest person in the class. I did get good grades, but I had a speech problem. And so I remember when the lady would come to my room to get me to go to speech, because I couldn't pronounce my S's. And if they wonder why I can't pronounce them now, it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. And that lady would come to my room and she was like, Mari Goins. And I would be like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. Everybody thinks I can't talk. And I went to speech and I had to do speech like for 3 years of my life because I couldn't pronounce my S's right. I was like, it's just that must have been my tongue. I don't know what it was. But I went to speech class, and the best part of me going to speech class when I was young is I got a piece of candy when it was over.
That is funny.
I got a piece of candy when it was over, and I was like, okay. And so for that, like, as I grew up my whole life, I was always afraid of kind of like, I love to talk, of course. I'm doing a podcast, but I'd never liked to hear myself speak. And that carried on with me forever. And then finally, I think I was probably in grad school and I was just like working with kids that had reading disabilities. And when I was younger, I worked with kids with physical disabilities. And then I thought, well, God, my speech ain't that bad. Like, right? It could be a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. So, yeah, I mean, and I dealt with that when I was in my 20s going to grad school. I was like, you know what? That made me work with kids that had disabilities because I grew up with a disability.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember in my 20s, like when I finally moved down here to finish college, I was studying psychology, and I remember I worked with this counseling center, like off Boulevard or something like that. I remember just like going through the different files of the kids that were just like in crazy situations. And then I would volunteer at this YMCA that was like downtown. And I remember this little girl just like was so attached to me. Like she would not leave my side. And it was like, what can I do like to make her feel secure?
You're
Like to
probably
make
her
her
safe
feel
space.
good. You
Like,
know what I
right? You're
mean?
probably her safe space.
Yeah. It was so, it's just, man, I just think it's such a great time when you're young like that. I mean, your whole life for sure, but when you're young like that, to really be able to step out and see how other people are living and be able to like, how can I really contribute to this world? Because I feel like when you're in your 20s, that's when you're kind of like figuring that out. And then you don't really ever figure it out. I just think like as time moves on, you just kind of morph into the next thing.
And I think when I was in my 20s, because I grew up in Indiana, and I mean, my stepfather would cook. Like, I mean, I'm talking a hog head on the counter. Like, he would cook. Like, we would eat. Like, we had fish on Fridays with spaghetti. I mean, we had liver on Thursday, liver, rice, and gravy on Thursday. And I would eat. When I got in my 20s and got to college, I went straight vegetarian. And that's when I went through my healthy stage. I just revamped myself.
What made you decide to go vegetarian? Because I did the same thing, but I was in high school when I did it.
I did it because at home, it was just, oh my God, it was like it was just crazy between the cow's tongues and the hog's heads and the chili with the grease.
Is that hog
floating
head
on
cheese?
top. I don't know what it was. I just remember the pressure cooker and the lid would go, and then he would just take a big corned beef out and sit it on the table. And I got to college and I saw all these like fly girls and like girls from California and everybody in their cat suits looking good. I was like, oh, hell no, I'm about to get this together, right? So I did a whole healthy change when I got to college. I just did a whole, I got a bottle of water and I start, my friends would laugh at me because they're like, she's probably living off a can of corn, not knowing that that's all I could afford. I was like, I ain't got no money. I got to eat. So that's when when I got home from college, I think I was like turning like 20 or something. It was like in my 21, between 21 and 25. I came home fabulous. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with that. So I got, I learned how to take care of myself. It's like that light bulb goes off in your head and you're like, wait a minute, I'm responsible for this now. My mom's not going to tell me what to eat. I've got to decide how I want to live my life now. And I knew I wanted to live my life in a healthier lifestyle. I knew I wanted to, look better and feel better and be more confident within me. Because when I was younger, I was extremely insecure. Extremely. But then after 25, 30, I was like, shit, I'm rolling. By the time I was 30, I was like,
wait, what made you feel insecure when you were younger? Is that had to do with like when the teacher would come and take you at, like, maybe
I just wasn't the cute sister when I was younger. I was like, my hair was like that sandy, dusty, dirty brown that would never, like, I don't care how much oil you put on my hair, it just would not shine. It would not shine. My sisters are beautiful. They were beautiful. I mean, them sisters was like fine. Like, yeah.
And you're the youngest.
And I was the youngest, with a lisp. You had to get braces and looking all crazy and shit. But then I got it together.
Yeah.
And I decided, when I went to college that, I will say this to any young person. In order to do better, you got to know better, right? People talk about the world and how the food is and how it's bad. If you don't make any money, you can't buy good food. If you don't have money, it's very hard to eat right. Like if a McDonald's is on the corner and you're hot and you're tired and you're getting off work and you ain't had nothing to eat all day, you're going to pull over and get a cheeseburger. Like, right? So in order to do better, you got to know better. You got to make better decisions. You've got to be aware of these things. And there's still people that are in rural parts of this country that don't. They don't have access to Whole Foods. They don't have access to organic living or anything like that. So when I went to college, I studied and I made a choice to just do better.
I remember being in college and going to Taco Bell because they had like
I still like Taco
50-cent tacos or whatever they were.
I still like Taco Bell.
No,
me and my friend Stephanie just went there. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Me and my friend Stephanie just went there like 2 weeks ago. Mm-mm. And my grandma would always say to us, if you can't figure out what to eat, just get a taco. I swear to God, grandma would say, just get a taco. And I was like, is that because it's healthy or if it's not? She's like, just get a taco, some lettuce, and just... Yeah, I like a taco.
I like
the hard shell,
but not
hard shell. I need a hard shell.
Not a Taco Bell, but yeah.
I'll eat a Taco Bell and a McDonald's fry. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, every once in a while, you gotta have a fry in your life. Like, what?
I love French fries.
Yeah,
I'm just not getting it from McDonald's.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't trip off stuff like that.
I know.
I'm not eating it every day. One thing you gotta tell yourself in life, anybody, everything in moderation. Everything in moderation.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think any sort of restriction is
Exactly.
not beneficial at all.
Everything in moderation.
No,
right?
It's not beneficial at all. In my 20s is when, when I was in high school is when I really started. That's when I tried like the whole vegetarian thing. And I was experimenting with like making things like complete whole foods. I bought the nutritional healing book. Like I was like totally into it when I was in high school.
I had the herb Bible.
Yeah, I did all that stuff. And then in my 20s, when college is when I started teaching group, what's called aerobics, but group fitness classes. And I loved it. Like I love it. And I was like, I can like get paid to work out. Sign me up.
And you signed up.
And that's what I signed up for.
But I cannot lie. I was not shopping at Whole Foods.
There was no Whole Foods.
Oh yeah, I don't know what it was. I wasn't eating.
There was
I wasn't eating all organic.
Harris Teeter.
Yeah, I love Harris Teeter's in Indiana. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a great. My parents shopped there all the time. But when I got to college, my parents were divorced, so I wasn't shopping at Harris Teeter in college. I was eating in the mall while I was working and I was just trying to figure shit out. Like, right. I was just trying to.
I feel like that's like a rite of passage. Right? You know, it is like that's
not for some of these kids now. They're all running around with American Expresses.
That's true.
American Express wasn't nowhere in my wallet. Nowhere near me. Like I was just happy to have AC in my car. I was like, American Express my ass. My parents were like, yeah, you coming home? It's a blizzard. They were like, you driving? I'm like, what? Yeah, so it was different. It was different.
Yeah.
And I had a different kid in each phase of my life. So that in my 30s comes Mariah. So I was, I had to grow up quick.
Well, they say your kids grow up in a different household, even though it's maybe the same home, but they don't get the same parents.
Never. I wasn't the same parent that I was when I was 30 as I was when I was 20, but I was always very present, very on top of it, very, I worked. I did what I had to do. I took care of my son. I still had the same values. I may not have been the same girl, but I had the same values.
So when I was in my 30s, because I had both of my girls in my 30s, actually when Kate was born, I was 40. So I had like lived my full life, right? So I just remember having to travel. My youngest was my oldest, Kendall. She was like 6 months or 8 months. And I traveled. I had to go to Vail, Colorado for a conference and was pumping my milk and like doing all the things because I wanted to make sure that I was like breastfeeding up until close to a year. And but I remember that. But at the same time, I was like kind of feeling like a sense of freedom in a way,
I would tell any woman, because I breastfed a little bit with D. I was like, yeah, this is getting on my nerves. Like, I can't keep doing this. This is like, yeah, I was like, this is crazy.
Well, you were 22.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. So I breastfed him a little, maybe till 6 months. Mariah, the same. And then with Gracie, Mariah, yeah, it was probably around 6 months. And Gracie, yeah, I was like, with Gracie, I'm going to go longer. I'm going to be super mom. Yeah, no. I was like, 6 months is good. And I don't want women to feel bad if they stop breastfeeding. I don't want women to feel bad if they can't breastfeed. It's not for everybody.
And it's not easy.
And it's not. It's a pain because it's a lot to do. It's a lot to do.
It's not easy.
Pumping is a lot. When you have a career, it's a lot. And formula's fine. I mean, if you can't breastfeed and you can't stomach it and it is an inconvenience for you and it's stopping you from moving on with your career and your life, your baby's going to be fine. I
remember having, I'd have to like breastfeed like every couple hours or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was at this point. But one of my team would like, I had meetings with my team and a couple of the guys would come in, the trainers, and they would the meeting would be running over. I'd be pulling out my breast pump and I'd be like screwing on the things. I'm like,
oh, Oh,
you need to wrap this up.
My
We need to
niece
wrap this
drives
up,
down the
fellas.
street, and I can hear the sound. And she's
100%
like,
did it driving.
I'm pumping.
I
And
100%
I'm like,
did it driving. Oh, I 100% pump while I was
remember
driving.
one time being in my doctor's office, and the PA was like, Mari, I'm sorry I'm late. I was pumping. Okay.
Oh, I used to pump when I drive all the time.
It's
and
a
I would do
beautiful thing,
one at a time. I
but
pump
if you
one then the
cannot
other.
handle it, it is more than okay not to do
Oh,
it.
it's a huge commitment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge
It
commitment.
is very huge. I don't miss that. Like, I don't miss that at all. I would be lying to you if I said I did. And then I had kids when I was 40. It just didn't bother me. I'm not really worried about the age thing. I don't want that to sound vain or something like weird, but
I mean, they just have you go through they have you go through a bunch of different like doctors, right, when you're after a certain age. Mm-hmm. But I remember they going through all the testing, and then I remember the nurse calling me, and I was in the grocery store, and she called and she was like, yeah, everything looks good. It's like as if the baby's in the body of a 19-year-old. Mm-hmm. I was like,
because that's why I said I don't worry about age, because I feel like in parenting, just in life in general, you're as young as you feel. You know, you keep moving your body, you keep taking care of yourself, and as you always tell me, eating right and getting your protein and doing the things that you need to do. I'm not really worried about age. I'm not worried about, oh my God, do I look? I don't care. And for men, it's like, if you don't want an older woman, don't have an older woman. But I will 100% say, in my opinion, women age way better than men in every aspect. Because I was like, them first Fridays at the Hyatt Regency with the gold chain, I cannot. I'm
the
like,
Hyatt Regency.
I cannot. I know I went way back.
Oh,
it's
at
like,
the top.
Yes, it's like I went way back. It's like so older men. True. Unless you like an Obama.
Say it.
I'm said it. I'm done. I'm done. I just think women age gracefully. I mean, look at Michelle Obama. She's amazing. Mm-hmm. She looks absolutely beautiful. Like she does. I just look at Sophia Loren.
She's one of my favorites.
That's who I named Gracie after. She's absolutely stunning. Look at Diana Ross. I just showed Gracie a video of Diana Ross running out on the stage. She was singing I'm Coming Out. She had on a sequence catsuit with that fur and she ran literally from her trailer to the stage and was singing. She had the mic in her hand running, and I was like, that is why she is Lady Sings the Blues. She is a bad girl. Mm-hmm. Diana Ross was stunning. And look at her. Look how she's aging. Mm-hmm. She's still coming on stage singing to Beyonce. Like, it's just different. So I didn't worry about...
It's a mindset.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about, I'm a 40-year-old mom, or, I'm not hanging with the younger moms. I was like, whatever.
I didn't think about that at all either.
Whatever. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I don't think about
because it doesn't serve you. Like, how does it serve you to be like with that being your thoughts? Well, it doesn't serve you in any way.
Some people are vain, and it does serve them. Some people have their skincare routine and they have their regimens, and they're like.
I think it's okay to take care of yourself, but worrying about it doesn't serve you.
Yeah, I'm not worried about my age at all, and I'm not trying to age backwards. I'm not trying to go back and say, "Oh God," I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not snatching my whole face back. I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. I'm not. I think it's something to be said for a handsome, distinguished, gray-headed man that is confident in himself. And I think it's something to be said about a beautiful, aging gracefully woman. Mm-hmm. I think it just speaks volumes to the type of life you've lived.
And every decade has lessons and growth, and just like learn from it. Like don't regret it. Learn and keep it moving. Mm-hmm.
And listen to the wisdom of your ancestors and older people, and listen to, I always say that the Bible is one of the best cookbooks in the world, because there's a recipe for everything in there. A heartbreak, like discipline, confidence. The Song of Solomon was one of the greatest love stories ever told. Mm-hmm. And we know, I always think about David. I'm like, I'm a living, breathing David, like, right? But I've always had a heart for God. Mm-hmm. So I don't think back in those times when Sarah was like 90 years old having a baby. I don't think she was quite 90, but like when they were old and God was like, I'm still going to bless you with a baby. She was worried about her age. She was not worried about a thing. She was just so excited to have that baby. So aging gracefully and parenting through the decades and gaining more wisdom, it just makes you a better person, and it helps make your kids better human beings, which is what we want them to do. We want to raise them to leave us. We want to raise them to be able to be good human beings and go out into the world and do great things. So decade after decade, parenting never stops. It never stops.
It doesn't. Why are you laughing? What's the financial advisor?
Because I just don't even know about the decade, but go ahead. My mama calling, Jesus calling, everybody calling.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Level up. What? I was like, oh my God, somebody call Total Wine because I need a glass.